Thank you, Lou. When you live long enough, those in the room who we find ourselves in the same age demographic, we still have that hole of the death of Camelot. We know it was a conspiracy. The truthful conclusion now is 11 shots into the car. The cover-up of the windshield and the bullet holes in the framing around the windshield, etc., etc. But nonetheless, the psychic hole that's there. Then there's watching the twins go down and not even rebuilding the twins. Not even rebuilding them. That in itself bothered me. And Silverstein got paid twice because he claimed 2 buildings. So on one investment, he ended up making how many billion? But there are 2 things, well, there's several things you can do. There's a video called In Plain Sight, which a man put together, which is most stunning. All it is a compilation of news feeds. I mean, literal news feeds. And you see at the Pentagon, and someone gets out of a car, and what's going on? And you see all this real stuff. And the commentary then goes against what they claim to be the evidence, and you're looking yourself and you see that the roof of the Pentagon is still intact, and the height of the plane that was claimed to have hit it is so much higher, it would have done irreparable harm. And obviously when you're talking about multi-ton, 12 to 14 feet high Pratt & Whitney engines. But that's not the thing that got me. When you consider that the Pentagon has transponders on it, and one of the most safely protected sites in the United States, why is there only one video from a distant parking lot? And if I were to drive into your living room, why would your furniture be out on the lawn? Also, the one specific thing that really shook me was a PBS documentary, and you have the men who bravely were sucking in all these horrific particles in the air, and he found a transponder. And a very dear friend of him in construction, he found a transponder the next day. None of that went into the record. It's right there on film. And the most disturbing thing is you look at the I-beams. Next time you see this, look how perfectly straight they are and they're caramelized. Thermite crystallization was in every particle of dust of every household that the dust permeated. There's a physicist who was fired because he announced the phenomena of these thermite crystals, which only comes from a high military explosive. We know that they were working on the core elevators for at least 6 months. We have firemen who we admire and listen to when they tell their tales. They saw molten steel rolling like lava flows. We remember the news footage when the cranes were going and pulling up debris, and all of a sudden there'd be this explosion of fire. Well, gang, rocket fuel only burns at, 780 Fahrenheit, something like that? Don't quote me on it, but it's not that low. To melt steel, you're into thousands of degrees. There's something majorly incongruous to this. And also the satellite photographs of the heat spots that were on the site. And I leave you with this before I play you a love song to clear this pain out of the room. 2 buildings go down. We're all in incredible emotional shock. We know for a fact that Building 7 went down in its own footprint. We saw the video. We see somebody say, they're going to pull it, back up, they're going to pull it. He gives the announcement, give him credit. Do it, pull it. When did they have the time to put the munitions on the frame of a building to collapse it in a complete, perfect demolition, deconstruct form? And all that chaos and all that concrete dust. I have an apartment on 86th Street in Central Park West. 5 days later, it smelled like an electrical fire. And then I started smelling concrete, and I pulled all the windows closed, turned the air conditioning off, just turned it because I knew the wind was blowing the wrong way. And then the satanic ultimate, when they told all these people they could go back and it was safe, and those PCVs were still in the air, and all those brave volunteers who went in, who now have these horrific diseases, and the government's refusing to pay for it. These are psychic holes. And how we choose to deal with it, how much of it is absolute, unequivocal truth, how much is stretched, how much is that. Nonetheless, the refusal to discuss is a damnation in itself and a proof of guilt. Take to the streets. Now, let me play a love song.